Hello everyone. Hello everyone and welcome to the Playconomics Workshop. I am Alberto from the Playconomics team. Jonathan, your lecturer in charge, is also joining us in the comment section. So if you have any questions for him, please just ask away and we are gonna answer. I am currently on sabbatical in Italy, so that's why it's daylight, even though it's 6 p.m. in Sydney. I am aware that a lot of you are watching this from many different countries in the world under many different circumstances. And I just wanted to tell you, first of all, that we are here to help you. We are trying to make these assessments as stress-free as we can. If you have any problem, we are gonna resolve it and we are gonna get you through it. The last thing we want in this period with all these challenges that we face in the world, the last thing we want is to create additional stress. If you need anything, just send us an email, send an email to Jonathan or to our support email at Playconomics, and we are gonna get things done for you right away. Now, I want to touch on a few things during this workshop, unless you guys have more specific questions. Just to get you started, tell you how to earn your marks and how to navigate the game. First thing first, I want to jump into academia and show you where you can find some information on how to start with the game. And here it is. This is your academia website. I hope everyone at this point is familiar with what academia is and what academia does. But just in case, I am going to just briefly, let me see if I can shrink the page a little bit, just like that maybe. There you go. But just in case, know that you can access academia by logging in from the Playconomics website, just like that. And then selecting your course. I have a lot of courses here, but just for the, I'm just gonna pick one. You are gonna see only one course if you are enrolled in only one course. And I just want to point out that this is how you launch your online course and you land on this academia page. All right, from here, I hope you are familiar with this at this point, but let's just have a look at the left-hand side. Chapter 0, Playconomics. This is something that we added recently as we were deploying the game in the beta period. You have this section, for example, where we are going to link this workshop so you can see this workshop again. We are also going to add timestamps so that it's easy for you to navigate. And if you just instruction on how to do things, something that I just showed you, how to download the game, for example, how to log into the game, how to deal with performance issues, and so on. So for some basic tips on the multiplayer mode and the scenarios. And then you can see here that I'm adding slowly as we deployed more scenarios. I've added sections to allow for a conversation about it if you want to dig a little bit more, and also posting the leaderboards in part for bragging rights, but also to keep an eye on how everything goes. I'm gonna add more sections here, one for each scenario, where we can have this conversation, see the leaderboards, watch the game graphs. For example, if you go in this section here, you're gonna see some graphs at the bottom which capture what's happening right now in the game. You can choose different markets and different regions and have a look at that. This is not necessarily part of your assessment, but it could be cool to have a way to connect your ebook directly with the video game. And also, I'm gonna mention, since I'm having a look at academia, that there is a new tab up here which is called Game Rewards, where you can see all the scenarios that we have deployed so far with the amount of points that you can make in these scenarios, and also the amount of points that you have already claimed. So all this information is here. Also remember, you can find this information in the Your Progress page as well. And you can find it here. You can see the scenario points that you made and the play coins that you made. I hope this is enough to give you a little bit of context when you are having a look at your ebook and try to understand how the ebook connects with the video game. But this workshop is really mostly about you playing the game and how you make marks. So let me jump straight into it. Follow the instruction that you see here in the tips to get started section to log into the game. In practice, it's really simple. You're gonna use the same username and password that you use for academia, the same one that you use to access your ebook. Remember that if you're using a PC, you need to unzip the file that you get when you download the game. And on a Mac, that is not an issue, so you don't have to worry about that. If you're wondering where to download the game from, it's here. Download game button here. Also, see the instructions in the ebook. If you click download, you can download for Mac or for Windows. You can download for both of them. You can in fact play a little bit on a Mac and then move to a Windows computer. You can mix and match. It doesn't really matter because everything that you do sits in the cloud on our servers. So what you see on your client is not really that important. Use as many computers as you want, download this as many times as you need. There is actually no problem at all. If you have a Windows computer, they usually perform a little bit better than Macs, so I would suggest you to use a Windows computer. So if you go through the process of downloading your game here and then selecting your game and then logging in, you will land on a page that looks a little bit like this. You are actually not gonna see as many courses as I have here because you are enrolled maybe in one of them or possibly maximum 2 of them, but that I think is very rare. You can see, for example, that I even have an engineering course right here that the Faculty of Engineering is using, and we are actually using the same game, the same universe, the same simulated environment for all these courses, which is very cool because it gives a more holistic approach to learning and teaching and builds a common language, not just across subjects in economics or in the business school, but also across faculties. So this is something we are very proud, and stay tuned if you want to learn more about it. Now, specifically, I'm making this video for you, and you are actually at this point enrolled either in ECON 101, Principle of Microeconomics, or in Business and Statistics. So these are the 2 courses that you are probably gonna see. And if you are enrolled in both, you will see, just like I do, both courses in your UI. When I click on a course, you can see that I've got a few choices. I have a multiplayer button, which is going to be the last thing that I touch on. And then I have scenarios. For example, if I switch to Business and Economic Statistics, for those of you who are taking that subject, you're going to see that most of the scenarios are similar, but there might be something more. Like, for example, in this case, we have a scenario called statistics simulation down here, which is specifically for stats. Also, don't be confused. Some of these scenarios may bring some points for Micro 1, but some of these scenarios may just be preparation for business economics. So if you want to know how many points a scenario gives you, have a look at this UI, but know that depending on the course, the same scenario might bring you points or not bring you points, depending on the assessment structure. Perfect. I think at this point it should be clear how this platform is at the same time being deployed across multiple courses in the same universe. I hope you know how to navigate them. Let me start with Econ 101, for example. I'm gonna just click here. As soon as I do, I also get a server message that tells me specifically for that course when the assessment period starts and ends. In this case, both for Econ 101 and Econ 203, we have the same dates, so it's not really any source of confusion here. And the next step after this would be to start playing this scenario. And in fact, that's what I'm planning to do. And I suggest very strongly that you do the same. Don't jump into the multiplayer right away because you won't know how to play. Instead, the best way to do it is to actually go through all these scenarios. And it won't take you much time. They're very short. They're gonna teach you how to play the game, and at the same time, they're also gonna teach you basic economics or stats principles that you may find useful. In other words, it's like two birds with one stone. You learn how to play the game, and you also make some points for the course. So let's see if I'm cutting maybe too much. Yeah, I think I need to resize my window a little bit so that everything is on screen. So apologies for that. I think you probably have missed part of what I was trying to show before. Okay, let me resize it a little bit better. Now you can see that we've got the scenario points here. It's probably something that you couldn't see before when I was more zoomed in. Okay, perfect. Let me start with chapter 1, cost-benefit principle. It's a chapter that really just teaches you how to play the game, but immediately, because the game is basically a model, it also teaches you economics at the same time. This is one of the things that we were trying to achieve with this game, where we are visualizing the economic models that we teach in class and the statistical model that we teach in class, so that it's much easier to visualize and understand what's going on. Much simpler. You don't need to have PhD math because you can just see the model unfold in front of you. Now, this scenario is really simple. Everything that you have here is self-contained. I'm not going to teach you exactly how to play all the parts of the game because the scenarios are doing that job for me. They are really going to flesh out every single thing that you need to do, and hopefully they are 100% clear. If not, please send us an email and let us know. In this level, we learn how to use WASD to move. I can also roll with my spacebar. Here, I'm learning how to collect an apple, and collecting apples is costly, so there is a happiness penalty when I collect an apple. You can see it here in the logs. I just lost some happiness because of the effort of collecting that apple. I can also eat that apple, and that gives me utility, and here we have the concept of increasing marginal cost in economics and more. And then I'm just gonna pause 1 second to show you this particular character here, which we call the Red Wizard. The Red Wizard has tutorials for you, and it also explained what is the theory behind what you have played. If you are a stats student, for example, and you don't really care much about the model that we have used for this scenario, but you just want to learn how to play the game because that's part of the assessment, that's perfectly fine. You'll be able to skip this. There's no problem at all. When you feel that you are done, you can speed up time. Here, up left, I'm just going 24 times faster. And I'm gonna just see the nighttime cutscene. I have a little summary of what happened during the day. And now I've got this screenshot here that I want to spend a moment talking about. You can click this button, this question mark, and learn everything you need to learn about this. But I want to just cover it briefly in this video. Every scenario may have different objectives. Some scenarios ask you to maximize happiness. Some of them ask you to maximize, for example, your income. Then we benchmark this against the best result ever achieved by a student in this course. So this is all benchmarked against other students' result, and we assign you a score depending on how close you get to that result. And after that, you can get some scenario points, which are then translated into course marks. And you can see here that I got 15 scenario points, but I have already claimed these points. I've already played this scenario before, and I already got top score. So I'm just unable at this point to claim more rewards because I've just got all of them. However, if you add some reward to claim, you could press this button here, and start collecting your rewards. You will see that we are sending your playthrough through a verification stage to make sure that everything is correct on our server, and then we assign you the rewards. At this point, you can replay the scenario if you want. Have a look at the leaderboards. This is the session leaderboard. There is only me in this case because this is not a tournament scenario. It's like a single player scenario. But you can have a look at what other students have done in the past, and these are the top scores in the leaderboard for this particular level. Let me go back to the main menu and go back to another scenario, for example, this demand curve for an individual, where we teach the basics of trade. Here I have my character, and I can buy things manually. And you can see this level is interesting because these are other, so I can run after them. These are other players, so other students that have created their automation, and now I'm kind of competing against them, which is kind of cool. I also want to point out this feature. You can talk with the wizard that gives you a detailed tour of the features step by step. It's also pausing time so that you can really focus on what's going on. You can open other UIs, for example, and follow their instructions at the same time. So this is a very cool feature that we hope you enjoy. You don't have to worry about the time passing because everything is paused until you press unpause time. And hopefully, again, straightforward, easy to use, and you're gonna just understand how to play the level. So in this level, I'm just gonna buy some goods. Of course, this is a consumption decision, but I'm also purchasing at this point, and then I'm gonna put it on my table to eat, just like that. Again, this will be explained to you step by step by the wizard. You can see how my utility changes up here. Later in the game, we are gonna show you how this, all of this actually, including these speech bubbles, are creating using this idea system that we call, where you can create your bot, which is very appropriate for economics and stats. So all this is going to be explained. Now, if I get to the end of this level, let's see how well I did this time around. There you go, 24 speed. Let's see how well I did. And I did pretty well. So that was good. You can see here that I got the maximum score. And now I can claim reward. I've got 30 scenario points here. I can claim the reward because I've never before claimed those points, so I can do it. You can see that my playthrough now has been uploaded and been verified. Perfect. This allows us to make you play essentially offline, but then we verify on our server that there was no cheating or no funny business in the way you have played the level, so we get the best of both worlds. I want to say something about how stress-free this is designed to be. This is not compulsory. You can get through stats and ECON 101 without playing the game. Usually we see that 80–90% of the students enjoy the game and play the game, but if you are within the 10% that does not feel like having this type of interaction with the course material, that's perfectly fine. We understand. We really design our courses with Jonathan to make sure that you can kind of approach it, make it your own, have multiple ways to get your marks. So just do the things that are more familiar and feel better to you. We hope you enjoyed this approach. It has been usually appreciated by students, and it's in full show here. You don't have to play the game if you don't want to. You can go over the other assessment and achieve full marks. Now, here I have also another option that you could have see up here. I could have pressed this at any point in time while I was playing the level. I could have started the tournament, or I could just press this button here, play tournament mode, right here. Now, if I do that, and actually maybe, well, okay, I'm gonna just press it. You're gonna see what happens next. So if I press this, I enter into a tournament mode. In this mode, I cannot control my character manually anymore. There is no more WASD. If I try, it says, nope, you cannot do this during the scenario. Instead, we are just gonna play the automation that you created for your character while you were playing the standard mode. In this case, because I created no automation for my character is doing absolutely nothing, while the other students here that have created an idea, the top ones, are actually going about their days doing their thing. And the result of this scenario will compare you with their score. In this case, I'm not going to do particularly well because, well, I haven't set any idea for my character. But this is how it works. This is a scenario, and the tournament mode brings additional points. So you can finish the level manually like I did before, but you can also engage in these tournament modes, and there are other points, other scenario points that are made available to you. In that case, you can see that in this case, I made 0 happiness, so I'm getting 0 scenario points. And these are separate from the scenario points that I made in the manual version of this tournament. Now, if you want to have just like, so I'm going to exit the tournament 1 second and go back to the standard mode. And one way to actually get something done in this scenario here is just listen to the wizard. The wizard is going to instruct you to, for example, select the good with the good with the maximum utility, and the wizard is going to explain you exactly how to do it. This is a recursive process, like we always do in economics, a marginal decision making with the classic sort of, do you want to eat one blueberry and after you make that decision, or a coconut and after you make that decision we ask you for a second decision. Okay, now that you got one blueberry, do you want another blueberry or do you want a coconut? So it's recursive, just like you have been used to think about this through the cost benefit principle. And now that I have an automation, my character will just go and do what the program said. And you can see the program here. So this is the shopping list, and you can see exactly what part of the program the character is currently playing. And if I start the tournament mode at this point, my character will now have an idea loaded in, and so there we go. I'm definitely more competitive this time around. I'm actually doing something and potentially have a chance to be competitive with the other students. If I zoom out, I can get a map view, and I can even get a leaderboard that shows me, in this session, how the other students are doing that are competing with me. They're not playing synchronously. They're not currently online playing with me, but they are definitely playing with me asynchronously through the automation that they have created before. And only the best ones, Timothy, great job there, are going to be reused in this scenario so that it can become a little bit challenging. Very good. So this was a brief look. I can always press the settings button and go to the main menu. I should also mention, maybe I should have actually started with this. It's really important. I'm gonna put it in capital letter in the timestamps. You have a chance here to click display. And if you're playing on a Mac, my Mac is beefy, so I have no problem. But if you are struggling, your game is not performing well on your computer, please reduce the resolution to the minimum that you can, just to the minimum, and also reduce the quality, and also get rid of ground textures, and the game will run much, much, much better, right? So just make sure that you're not running the game at a very high resolution. I mean, look at my resolution now, it's incredibly high. In many Macs, this would not end up giving good results. So just make sure that you reduce the resolution if you are struggling with this. Okay, now I have covered, I think, most of the things that I can go back to the main menu now, just like that. I have covered most of the things that I wanted to talk about. These are the scenarios. Now we have some scenarios that have a tournament component, like the one I just showed you. So you've got scenario points for this one, but you also have tournament points for this one. So double opportunity to make points in the game. And if you are wondering now how these scenario points are translating into marks, well, the place to go is this one in your progress tab. Have a look at this question mark. I have to warn you, this is for example, Econ 101, so that's what I'm looking at. So it will vary depending on whether you're taking Econ 101 and stats. But the basic idea is that you go on this question mark and see how we are calculating the marks. For Micro 1, we have a cap at 20. So you can see play coins plus scenario points, all capped at 20 points. This means that we are basically capping in Micro 1 the marks that you can get from the game to 20. In stats, we are capping it at 10. And the way we calculate your points is by taking your scenario points that I've just made by playing the game right now and divide it by 15. We also allow you to earn play coins that I'm gonna sort of touch upon in a second. And again, you take your play coins that you see as they appear here in the UI, you divide it then by 15, and that's the amount of marks that you're gonna get out of it, capped at different level depending on the different course. And remember, different courses may or may not assign points to certain scenarios, so you have to have a look at the UI to really know what you're gonna get depending on the course you're in. All right, this is a lot of house cleaning and housekeeping. I hope that this is enough, but if you have any question, please shoot. And speaking of question, I have one. Hello, Christian. It's fantastic to have you. And it's great to actually have live questions. It's my favorite part when I can interact with students. You're saying how many attempts do we have per chapter? Thank you. Well, you have infinite attempts per chapter. And if you do better than what you did before, you're going to be able to claim more points on top of the points that you have claimed. In other words, you can play with no stress, knowing that you're never going to lose points. But if you perform better after an attempt, you can get the extra points. And if you try again, you can get even more points. Essentially, it's a very simple system that allows you to replay these chapters as many times as you want without any concern or problem. I am gonna now touch on the multiplayer component. I really suggest you guys go through all these chapters. And apologies for keeping saying you guys. I'm always doing this in automatic mode. I should say everyone. I realize that it's a very sort of narrow way of I mean, it's basically, I apologize, I should not go around saying guys all the time. Everyone, the right way to approach this is to actually just go through the chapters, okay? Because if you don't, you're gonna miss some really important information about how to play the game. So don't jump into the multiplayer right away. Now, if you finally jump into the multiplayer, let me see if I can make this work. Okay, so I'm jumping into the multiplayer, and you can see here I am playing in this region, in this specific region. The first thing you need to do is actually select the region by clicking on them. You can get information about how many inhabitants, how many students are there, if there is any visitor that it's currently visiting that, and you can just travel there and have a look. I have chosen this region here. It's a beautiful region, so I zoom in, and you can see that I've made my little team here, and I'm actually playing with another student that has made their house here. So the multiplayer is a fully, like, it's a massive multiplayer online game where this guy also protected their shops. So this is my business down here, and the economy is not going too well. I need to go back and check on this level. If I zoom out, I can have this macro data about employment. Let's see how employment went. Yeah, not a fantastic situation here for now. You can get information on some data here. This is again the end of day. The way you play the multiplayer is going to explain to you as you essentially play the scenario. So I'm not going to touch exactly on that. You're going to do the same things that you have done in the scenarios, but this is actually an online world. These regions are going to be filled by other students. You can see here, Equilibrium has a lot of students in this region, for example, and they are building their economies. So have a look at different regions, select where you want to go, and then you can start your little adventures here. If you have a look at the leaderboard part and you go to the leagues component, this is where we assign students, including me in this case, into a league for a period of maybe 2 or 3 days. And after the league is concluded, the people that are at the top of the league, they are getting some play coins. In this case, for example, if I want to get more play coins, I should try to outperform Jung and really try to get into the first place in my league within the allocated time frame, which is 2 days. This means that when you play the multiplayer and you attempt to make play coins, you will be benchmarked against other students, and your result will depend on how well you did in your league when the league ends, at the time when the league ends. And we are going to add here very soon a clock, so you're going to know exactly when the league ends. Remember that by and large, you can get the points through scenarios if you want, instead of diving into the multiplayer. The multiplayer is in many ways optional. But if you want to give it a go, please give it a go. And the way you're going to get play coins is by finishing first in your league when the time comes. And then you're going to be promoted to a better league. You're going to be mixed with students that have higher play coins into another league, and the season starts again. You can swap between leaderboard and leagues by clicking on this button here. Very well. This was, in a nutshell, everything that I wanted. Oh, actually, apologies again. I think my picture was right on top of everything that I was saying. Let's see if I can just kill my camera for a second. Apologies, everyone. I was talking about the leagues, and my picture was right on top of the UI. Here you can see how I'm switching between the leaderboard, which is showing me and the other student who is currently in this region. There is only me and another student here who is actually doing really much better than I'm doing. Look at that happiness score. But you can also switch to leagues, and this is what I was talking about. This league is based on your happiness. I am at the beginner level because I have very few play coins. And at this point, you can see that I have been put in this league. I'm competing with other students that have similar play coins to the ones that I have. I am third. The higher I get in my leaderboard, by the time it finishes, by the time the league ends, the more play coins I'm gonna make. So this is how you achieve those play coins. Great. So I'm gonna put my camera back, but hopefully it's not gonna get in the way anymore. Finally, I wanna say a word specifically for stats students. So I'm gonna go into the business and statistics course, which has the same kind of schedule for the assessment period. And I'm just gonna touch upon this statistics simulation scenario. Now, this is the scenario where everyone taking stats can get both scenario points and tournament points. And in fact, you can kind of get full marks here by just doing this scenario. If I click play, this will work a little bit differently for you, because there will be a short answer question that Jonathan is creating, really tying this scenario to a statistical analysis that you're going to be asked to do. Let me sort of repeat this, because it's possible that something got lost in translation. You are going to play this scenario. Please, after playing all the other scenarios, to learn how to actually use the game, and you can get scenario points and also tournament points, which also gives you scenario points, just like I've shown you before. But on top of it, you are also going to use this particular scenario, this tournament scenario, to also write a short answer question in the ebook. And also, there's going to be for you another assessment after that related to the multiplayer. And Jonathan is going to go over all the details. For the time being, I just wanted to show you the scenario, which is a tournament scenario where we have all these people creating an economy. You can see how the market goes here. And the main point here is that we are going to ask you to collect data from this scenario. We are going to ask you to play it and try to figure out what is the best composition and strategy. But we are also going to ask you to download some data that you can use to answer the short answer question. But the way to approach this is then to just, as usual, do all your scenarios, arrive to this scenario. You're going to be able to play it, understand what the objective is very well at this point with all the knowledge from the previous scenarios, play it, and then have a look at your ebook, at the assessments that are related to the video game, to know how to use this scenario also to answer that question. And as Jonathan is mentioning, thanks a lot, Jonathan, for coming today. Jonathan is telling you stay tuned for the short answer questions, which is a great point. It's going to come up soon, and it's going to have all the instructions for you to understand exactly how it's done. So this is me going through the stats scenario because I want to get to the end of it and just have a quick chat about how you download the data. It's very simple, but I want to just touch upon that before closing the stream. And in the meantime, if there is, as this thing is going and the simulation is going and the data is being created, maybe we can just take a moment to see if there is any question from the viewers. I mean, we have quite a few people watching this. Thanks a lot for joining in. I hope this was clear. And if you have any further questions, absolutely just fire away, ask, send us an email, contact Jonathan. We are gonna just try to make this as stress-free as I said, and as simple as possible. I'm gonna just wait a little moment to see if there is any additional questions. I'm gonna just wait a second. I think I'm not seeing a lot of movement. I hope it's because everything is clear, and that's very good. Okay, I have a question. All right, let me have a look at this. Felson is asking, I was wondering if there was any written lesson that we could go through, as there are some things in the multiplayer I'm unsure about. Yeah, Felson, if you have any question on the multiplayer, please fire away. I'm happy to add something written to the ebook It would be good to see what is the problem for you, what are the steps that you would need clarification on, and then I can add a little bit of text to the ebook. So just let us know what you would like to know. If you can now, or maybe send an email to your lecturer in charge, and then we are gonna liaise and we are gonna write a little bit of text. Yeah, so very happy. Another question, you're asking if you have any question about the game, you could email. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to send me an email and ask any question, fire away. That's perfectly fine. I'm always looking forward to hearing your comments, see what creates problems and what you like about the game. So just shoot me an email. The other thing that you can do, I'm going to show you now in a second, just like that. The other place that you can go and you can get really quick answers there, it's in the Playconomics game section, where you can ask all your questions if you want, and our wizard tutors are going to answer. But as I said, feel free to send an email. It's always good for me to get feedback. I'm also going to see, because I've been using the website for the ECON 101 course, but now I want to switch quickly to also stats. There you go. We have the same thing for stats, I believe, in the course overview. Yes, Playconomics game. You can ask your questions about the game here. So this is a good first stop if you want one of our wizards to answer your questions. But if there is something more, send me an email. I'm very happy to have a look at what the issues are. It also seems like the scenario has ended. So this is for stats students. The scenario has ended, and you can see here that I can copy stats to clipboard. So if I copy this, now I can paste this in an Excel spreadsheet, for example. Just copy paste it, and it's gonna give you a data set with the data that was created by running this simulation. This is something amazing that Jonathan is doing. I mean, using the simulation that you have played in to actually produce this data set, almost like a randomized control trials, when you can repeat, see how a change in your behavior can affect the data, and then do a statistical analysis on this data. I'm blown away. This is really cool. And you can just copy the stats at the end, and at the end of the run of the scenario. And you can also do this. You can sample multiple iterations. If you sample multiple iterations, we are basically going to play these scenarios in the background right there. So we are playing the scenarios in the background for 4 times, and we are creating other data that you can use, and you're going to see how you can use that in the assessment when Jonathan releases that information. Okay, they have arrived. You can see here that I have one scenario, one iteration completed, and now I can copy the stats to clipboard. This basically allows you to have multiple iterations of the game. Okay, second iteration, I can copy this and add it to my data set on that spreadsheet, and so on and so forth until I get to 4 out of 4. We are actually working on a system to potentially do it even faster, but this was the fastest we could rerun these scenarios for you on our servers and offer you the data that you need for the assessment. You're going to do some statistical analysis. Again, I find this very interesting, where you're going to try to learn something from the data in terms of optimal behavior and what are the best strategy to get happiness. And then with this training, and not just training because you play the game, but also through the statistical analysis that you did, then you can go to the multiplayer and try to play the game there using what you learn from the data and from your experience, and that is also going to be part of a separate assessment. As for Econ 101, none of this is compulsory. If any of this seems confronting to you, or just this level of interactivity doesn't make you comfortable, you can go and do all the other assessments that you have without even touching this. But of course, we believe this is a real form of experiential learning that it's very hard to achieve in any other way. So for whoever wants to try, we are very excited that you are engaging with it. And with this, I have covered really everything that I wanted to say. Thanks a lot for the support in the chat room. Thanks a lot, Jonathan, for swinging by. I'm not seeing many more questions popping up, and it's been already 45 minutes on my clock. So this is probably a good time to say bye-bye, see you soon. I hope everyone is doing well. I reiterate, I know I've said it 3 times, but it's really important to us. If there is any problem, you have any issue, just let us know, send us an email, and we are going to give you more information. We can update the ebook, anything you need, just let us know. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's always good to have a little bit of connection with you. Greetings from Italy. I know that you may be all over the world, in many different places. I hope the situation where you are is safe and you're doing well. A big hug from the Playconomics team, from the ECON and the Stats team. All the best, and see you very soon. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye-bye. See you soon.